Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here, your weather enthusiast, with another detailed update on the weather pattern as we are tracking a big nor'easter for the Northeast, and we are especially very concerned about devastating flooding across California with damaging winds, mudslides, blizzard conditions, avalanche danger, and much more. Now, if you're new and you really like these detailed weather videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with their family and friends on social media. We gotta get this out to a lot of people as millions are impacted by the nor'easter as well as the big flooding across California. So what you're seeing here is the latest NAM 3-kilometer radar reflectivity forecast over the New England area, as you are preparing for some pretty intense snowfall rates along to go with strong winds that will lead to blizzard-like conditions across New York, portions of northern Pennsylvania, Vermont, New Hampshire, as well as Massachusetts and Connecticut, and even for northernmost New Jersey. So let's take this forward. This is for Monday evening for your evening commute. You can see a little bit of snow that could start falling across central New York as well as Syracuse, New York. Going to be pretty nasty. The winds are also going to start picking up as this system begins to deepen, and winds will be out of the northeasterly direction. By the time we go into the overnight hours, so this is right around 2 to 3 in the morning for Eastern time, and you can see here moderate to heavy snowfall that is anticipated here, indicated in dark blue, and even a little speck there of purple, an indication you're looking at moderate snowfall rates of about 1 to 2 inches an hour, along to go with the strong winds. But take note here, while it's not snowing yet for Connecticut or Massachusetts, including for, Rhode Island, it's going to be snowing by tomorrow morning, and that's because the cold air is going to be infiltrating out of the north, and we can see that shaping up. Actually, more later on in the morning into the early afternoon is when this transition should happen. So by about 16Z, so this is roughly right around about 10 to 11 in the morning Eastern time, you can see there for your Tuesday, still continuing with the heavy snowfall. Strong winds are definitely going to be a sure bet. So if you're in Boston, Massachusetts, you're going to be on that transition line. Rain to snow, maybe some flakes mixing in early on, and then turning to all snow once that cooler air comes in out of the northerly direction, coming offshore, helping to bring the snow with it. Look at this. For downtown New York, you might get some more snowflakes, including for central and northern New Jersey. On the back side of this, as some cold, moist air wraps all the way around, you might get some snow. And this continues all the way into Tuesday afternoon. So your morning and evening commutes could be definitely impacted here. Maybe some flight delays, flight cancellations. Definitely a sure deal out of this system because of the inclement weather, strong winds, heavy snow, blizzard conditions. The isobars really tell a tale of how strong the winds are going to be, and this continues all the way into Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning before finally it moves offshore. But still over Cape Cod, there could be some pretty intense snow bands riding along the coast there, bringing more intense snowfall rates to the region. But inland more, like New York, some portions there of New Hampshire and Vermont, will start seeing the snow decrease. So how much snowfall could you see out of this winter storm, or nor'easter we call it? Well, we're going to use a 10-in-1 ratio because the Katrina 10-in-1 ratio pretty similar, and so we're going to kind of narrow it down here to the 10-in-1 ratio for best accuracy as much as possible. And so right now, 1 to 2 feet is what I'm thinking for central eastern New York, right here along some of the mountain ranges, the foothills, as well as central and southern New York. That might get some areas here, maybe about 1 foot or 2 of snowfall. But look at this. This would be the bullseye, and the favored areas of heavy snow would be western portion there of, say, Massachusetts. Southern Vermont and New Hampshire could get anywhere between about 2 to 3 feet of snowfall. Some of the favored areas here could even get snowfall amounts up to about 3 feet. So that is pretty substantial, pretty detrimental There's going to be a lot of shoveling going on. There's going to be a lot of impacts, folks, because of this nor'easter. Just because it impacts a rather small area, this is also a very populated area, and my job is to make sure I save people's lives. We're weather aware all season long on these types of events. And especially, this one is in mid-March, so don't let your guard down just because it's mid-March, you don't see a snowstorm anymore. Well, hallelujah, you're getting more snow, believe it or not, in the areas that have not seen much so far this season. So good news there for the Northeast, but bad news if you're traveling around, if you're flying, might get some flight cancellations and flight delays. Another thing with this system will be the strong winds. We're continuing with wind gusts between 35 to 45 miles an hour across Pennsylvania. That's the forecast model. This is the NCEP, which stands for National Centers of Environmental Prediction System, is basically what it means. All right, and so this model indicates wind gusts could be between 45 and 50 miles an hour along the basically the New England coast, such as southern Maine, could get gusts between 50 and 55 miles an hour. Cape Cod maybe reaching between 55 and 60 miles an hour, but otherwise, most of these wind gusts that you see here will be in the range of between about 40 to 45 miles an hour. So that's a look at that nor'easter. Now let's take a look at what might be going on across the west. And I mean, it's going to be downright dangerous. We are talking about another atmospheric river. Okay, so for any of you that live across California, please pay very close attention to this portion of the video, because this is possibly going to be devastating. That's what the AccuWeather is saying. That's what some other weather media is saying. This can be very dangerous, okay? And what you're about to see on the Weather Prediction Center is clearly stating that. So, of course, showers and thunderstorms today, not a big deal. Today is kind of preparation day before the big storm comes in. I'm not trying to use the word tropical storm here, but it's warm. It's kind of muggy today. And so a lot of this rainfall that's coming in is going to kind of make things a little more muggier, almost tropical-like, because this is coming from a very low latitude. So by this afternoon, you can see showers will start across the northern portion of California. We got thunderstorms, maybe some funnel clouds out of these storms are anticipated. So when thunder roars, please go indoors. We already got some strong thunderstorms developing in the Manteca, Stockton, and Tracy area right now. We might see more coverage of that later on this afternoon. And if you get under a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, please take those seriously. Us as Californians are not used to these kind of things, so make sure you do use extra caution. Go to the lowest floor of a sturdy building at the center of your house, away from windows, when you encounter any of these severe weather warnings, because again, us as Californians, we don't know what to clearly do versus people in the Midwest and the Deep South. So just kind of extra caution here that strong storms are possible this afternoon due to a lot of high dew points, some moisture that is in the air, and some instability. So by this afternoon, you can see those storms will move eastward, and then the shield of rain comes in. Look at this. Some darker green colors indicate some light to moderate rainfall that is anticipated. The winds are also going to start picking up, especially into the morning hours of Tuesday. So if you're commuting tomorrow, maybe a day to kind of stay home, because the winds are going to be pretty fierce out there. And then look at this. By Tuesday morning, widespread dark green and some yellow colors, an indication we have moderate to perhaps even heavier rainfall as this storm moves onshore. And take note, look at those snowfall levels there on the map there. That indicates snow levels will be relatively high with this system, anywhere between 6,000 to 7,000 feet high. With the majority of the snowfall amounts falling at around, say, 8,000 feet and higher, where you might see almost 10 feet of additional snowfall. That's a big problem, and I'll explain that in just a little bit why that is. All right, so Heavy rainfall through the morning commute on your Tuesday. Just take this seriously, please. And the rain will continue into the early afternoon hours of Tuesday with very strong damaging wind gusts that are anticipated still as that system moves through. And still, look at this, all the way into Wednesday early morning, we could be looking at some light to moderate rainfall still over the Central Valley and also for Southern California. Speaking of Southern California, there's going to be a lot of problems down there because of all this water and runoff, snow melt that is going to exacerbate the flood problem in SoCal and also in Central California with heavy snow for the mountains. All right, so that being said, we're also talking about some very strong wind gusts. In fact, if we go and take a look at the Central California region on the wind forecasts, we can see anywhere between 55 to 65 miles an hour. The National Weather Service, even in their modeling system, projects wind gusts that could reach between 55 to 65 miles an hour. In my area, we might even get gusts close to 70 miles an hour. So yeah, if I go live tomorrow, which I hope I do go live, there might be some power outages and we may witness fallen trees, branches, and some damage like that. So some strong winds that are anticipated with this system. All right, rainfall totals really quickly. I want to show you the total QPF amounts according to the National Weather Service. We're just going to simply use Weather Bell in this sense. So let's kind of go over that. You can see rainfall amounts between 1 and 2 inches for the valley. For the coastal range mountains like Santa Cruz to the San Luis Mountains, as well as, say, Southern California, some of those mountains could get 3 to 6 inches of rainfall. The Sierra, the Mother Lobe, could get anywhere between 3 to 8 inches of rainfall, just depending on what model you use. Different models mean different things. The National Blend model shows about the same amounts, while the WPC has nearly the same amount of rainfall totals. And this is all coincidental with the latest Euro and GFS models that indicate pretty similar rainfall totals that are anticipated. So lots of rainfall, damaging winds, power outages, flooding, that sort of thing, that is all anticipated. So now we're going to take a look here at our snowfall total for the rest of the U.S. Let's go right back to this. So we can see for the mountains here, anywhere between 5 to 8 feet of snowfall above 7,000 feet that is anticipated for the Sierra. So winter storm warnings are issued for that reasoning. There's also a big nasty snowstorm that is anticipated for the upper Great Lakes like northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, right around the Lake Superior, Lake Huron area. Definitely be on the lookout there for maybe 1 to 2 feet of snowfall that is possible through the next 4 to 5 days. And then, of course, over here in the northern plains, you might see as much as 5 to 8 inches of snowfall, with the Rockies here getting more nice snowfall there, anywhere between 2 to 4 feet of additional snowfall yet to come. All right, so really quickly, before we talk about our temperatures, I think it's a good idea that we really focus in on our flood concerns, especially across the West. Again, actually, we're going to zoom in on this because this is a really, really concerning deal. For people that watch me from California, I might even do a live stream, a live hangout discussion on this even tonight because it is that serious. No, I'm not here to hype up stuff, folks, so don't leave comments saying, David's hopping in sup, right? This is really bad. All right, so the day one outlook here, this is for Monday morning through Tuesday morning. This does not include the atmospheric river just yet, especially for the south here, not going to see much. But here across Northern California, you're under a slight and moderate risk for heavy rainfall and flooding. But check this out. The second time WPC has actually done this in California. I mean, there is a high risk, yet again, a high risk for serious concern flooding. Okay, we are possibly looking at devastating impacts across the coastal mountains here of the San Luis Range, Salinas Valley into, say, Pescadero if you are in San Luis Obispo, Avila Beach if you're in Santa Monica, right down here. This is very bad. I mean, there's a 50% chance of significant flooding and heavy rainfall. Not only that, look at the Sierras here. There's a moderate and high risk for flooding and mudslides. All right, not to even mention, there will be possible widespread landslides, mudslides, rock slides on roadways, on cliff sides. So you really need to be careful for tomorrow. If you're doing any traveling southward here on 101, on Highway 1, the Great Coastal, or the Great Golden State, wait, it's a coastal highway, but it's a Great Coastal Highway. I think that's what it's called. Along the coast there, Highway 1 could see some devastating impacts. Do not travel if you really need to. It's a no travel day tomorrow because of that. All right, so that's a look at the WPC for day 2, looking really, really bad and concerning. The day 3 outlook is pretty similar, but a lot better. SoCal under a marginal risk for heavy rainfall and flood concerns, including for Arizona. So big, devastating impacts are coming to California late tonight, all the way through early Wednesday morning. Strong winds, damaging winds perhaps, 70 plus, along with heavy rainfall that will lead to devastating flooding, excessive runoff, mudslides, debris flows, blizzard conditions for the Sierra, for the higher elevations, that sort of thing. So now let's talk about temperatures for the rest of the nation. I don't want to forget all about you in the Midwest because I've been only focusing on the Northeast and the western half of the U.S. But that's where the biggest impacts will be through the next 48 to 72 hours. So temperatures going to be below average, okay? That's where they're at right now, 20 to 30 degree below average temperatures. That's going to continue all the way through Thursday and Friday. Maybe a brief warm-up because of that cold front, that dynamic system that sets up here, going to bring in some moderate to heavy snowfall, maybe some severe weather for the deep south. Again, tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds are still a possibility with that. Okay, but it's going to be the cold air. Look at this. Temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below average, and especially look at this. I mean, by the time we go into the weekend, by Saturday and Sunday, temperatures could be 20 to 35 degrees below average. Look at this, 45 degree below average temperatures in southernmost Texas, where you just got done having temperatures in the 80s, 90s, and close to 100 a few weeks ago. Now you're going to see temperatures in the 40s and 50s during the day because of that cold air mass that is going to hang around. And it's going to kind of want to hang around for a while, possibly through the middle of next week. That is through the 23rd of, say, March, where you're going to have at or below average temperatures. So it's nice to see some cooler weather that is anticipated. So now we want to take a look at our latest weather watches, warnings, and advisories. This is pretty concerning. Again, a coast-to-coast event. Big nor'easter for the eastern seaboard and also for the New England area. High wind warnings right along the Cape Cod coast. Storm warnings right offshore. Winter storm warnings. Still surprised there's no blizzard warnings issued out ahead of this. Still wouldn't surprise me if there will be blizzard warnings for the higher elevations there of New Hampshire and Vermont. But look at this. Very big weather mass going on across Nevada, California. Flood watches, high wind warnings, winter storm warnings. I mean, we've been through this already. We're going to go through it again. The second last big atmospheric river. Again, this looks to be a little stronger than the first one according to latest model guidance on that. So just be very careful if you're in California, Nevada, all the way through from late tonight through Wednesday. It is going to be very dangerous. Big time impacts, you all. And it's very rare to see flight cancellations out of some of these airports, like San Francisco. Maybe Sacramento airport could be canceled because of the strong winds and heavy rainfall. Tomorrow looks to be a what I call it, a weather alert impact day for the Sacramento area, and due to the warnings and advisories that we are anticipating here, I have issued a storm warning for much of the Central Valley due to strong winds that will blow down trees and power lines and a lot of significant impacts. Not only that, look at what the Climate Prediction Center wants to illustrate here. Let me see if I could put this up. Okay, there we go. So the Climate Prediction Center has issued a 70 to 80% chance for above average rainfall and snowfall through the 23rd of March. Okay, so the next 10 days, we're likely to see well above average rainfall. That's the chances, while the Northeast will see somewhat below average precipitation. That continues through the 8 to 14 day forecast, where the Southern California will be likely above. That's 50 to 60% chances of that occurring, leaning above average for much of the nation. When it comes to our hazard zone, this is the second time, actually the third time this season, that the Climate Prediction Center has issued a high risk for heavy rainfall and flood concerns for the 21st and the 22nd of March, okay? That is really concerning. We have had too much rainfall. We're yet to get our atmospheric river tomorrow, and then another one potentially by the early part of the following week. Not this week anymore after Wednesday or Tuesday and Wednesday, but the following week. The 21st and the 22nd, we could be in some big trouble again with more significant flooding. On top of that, more heavy snowfall is anticipated here over California. I mean, this is just wicked. I mean, this has just been a really terrible winter, rough one for California, with a moderate risk for strong, damaging winds anticipated for the 21st through the 23rd. So it is the whole 9 yards, again, with big impacts for the West. Well, that's going to sum it up for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing, folks. You guys are really, really awesome. I love you all to death. Yes, I love you. So make sure you subscribe, share, and like, and also make sure you check out the the Mesovort WX website. There's a link in the description below this video, along to go with the Gilded server. If you don't know what Gilded is, it's basically like Discord, but it's a lot better. It's Discord 2.0. So if you haven't participated yet, I would recommend doing so, because yes, it's getting bigger. We're growing it nice and successfully. And yeah, please participate in it. It's a lot of fun. All right, but anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will be back with you with more awesome weather content. It's awesome to be here doing weather updates all season long. And also, we might be doing a live stream tonight. I almost forgot to do that at the end of this video. So yeah, be sure you stay tuned to that. I'm thinking about it. Not for sure, but for sure tomorrow I'm going live on this big storm for the West.